All right. Well, very good morning. How's everybody doing? This doesn't look like the best camera option here. Sorry about that. Let's see what we got here. Is that better? Yeah. There we go. Now we're cooking with grease. Got the right camera now. How's everybody doing? 8 o'clock on the dot. A very good morning. Comeback Yoga, nonprofit organization, doing a lot of good for a lot of vets out there. And Comeback Yoga is a nonprofit organization that provides free yoga classes and training to veterans and their family and friends up and down the. Trying to make sure that I don't have my head cut off. All right, and then I don't think we need this. Sorry about that, guys. Just want to make sure this is halfway pleasant for you. All right, and always adjusting these cameras, learning. But Comeback Yoga nonprofit, we sure could use your help. Come to the classes if you find it valuable. Pass it on to your friends. All right, let's go ahead and settle into the mat. All right, today we're going to continue with breath. Breath. All right. We're going to be doing the upper body, but our theme is on breath. And breath, I would say, is probably the most important part of your having this experience right here, right now. All right. From the yoga perspective, breath is called prana. Prana, that is life or breath, prana. So any of these pranayama practices, there's many different styles of way of breathing that change your biochemistry. And so we're going to learn a couple in these practices and see what the value of doing this is. That's the key, is to do it, understand what their function is, do it, and then see it. And then you can bring it into any moment. So breath, prana, life. And if we can get good at this prana or this breathing process, then it can enhance the nervous system and how it's functioning, the function of the nervous system. All right. So let's go ahead and begin drawing your shoulders back and down, lengthening through the back of the neck, broadening through the collarbone. And you notice how that head just naturally comes into alignment with your center of gravity. Notice the tailbone and right up your spine. Notice the lightness of the body. Now, for the most part, throughout practice, we're going to be breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril, unless I say otherwise. But in through the nostril and out through the nostril without pausing in the breath cycle. Without pausing in the breath cycle. Some of y'all that have been taking the class, this would be a very common cue. And so see if you can move through the whole practice without pausing in the breath cycle. It takes some focus and dedication, but it will also serve you in many ways. But let's go ahead and start releasing the body, working on the upper body today. And then let's go ahead and look up and over to the left. Just a nice little stretch in the neck, and then in through the nostril, and then out through pursed lips this time, just like you're blowing out a candle. Breathe in through the nostril, and then out through pursed lips. And then looking over to the right. Big breath in through the nostril, And then out through pursed lips. In through the nostril. And out through pursed lips. And then come to center. And then looking up. So looking up and then in through the nostril, out through pursed lips, like you're blowing up into the ceiling. Breath in through the nostril, and out through pursed lips. Then bring the head back to center. And then dropping the chin. Dropping the chin. Big breath in through the nostril, and out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril, out through pursed lips, and then bring the head back up into center. And then let's go ahead and continue with opening up the shoulder girdle. So let's find our goalpost, and then let's link our movement with our breath. Movement with our breath. All right. So we're going to begin breath in, and then on the exhale, out through your nostril, inverting the goalpost. So in through the nostril and out through the nostril, linking breath, inhale, and then exhale. Finding this smooth movement in through the nostril and out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle, no pausing in the movement cycle. You see how there's these smooth movements from inhale to exhale, and then from inhale to exhale. And then one more. Inhale to exhale. And then just shake it out. Shake it out. All right, next one is we're going to reach over to the opposite side of the head and then grab that elbow. All right. And then you want to press that elbow into those fingertips at about 10% effort. So if you press into that elbow, you're engaging giving a stretch in that side body and breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle, and release. And then come back into the stretch. This is the second out of 3 stretches for 7 seconds. TMF stretching, releasing. And look for any pleasant sensations and release. And one more on this side. And the third out of 3, pressing into that elbow, releasing, and releasing. Put your hand down, noticing pleasant sensations, any looseness, and release. And then let's do the other side. We're reaching over the other side of it. And then we're going to grab that opposite elbow, pressing into those fingertips, pressing into those fingertips. For 7 seconds, already halfway through. And then relax. And then come back into the stretch. You don't need much. 10% is what you need to release that fascia. Looking for pleasant sensations. Otherwise, just have a nice deep breath. And then release. And then deep breath in, reaching, pressing. And release. And shake it out. And then reaching over, so grabbing that left shoulder and then coming back. You see how we're just systematically opening up the nervous system. And then go ahead and press into that hand. 10% is all you need. Notice the stretch in the fascia. It's all, that fascia is everything. Getting that fascia to release and then relax. And then go ahead and press in. And you'll notice that fascia is pressing in opposite. Opening up that and then relaxing. And then it's my backhand muscle. Anybody play tennis? And then relax. And then take your hand, bring it on the other side, and go ahead and press. And 7 seconds, 10% effort, and release. And then go ahead and press in. And then relax and release. And then one more. Go ahead and press. And release. All right, and then shake that out. And then let's go ahead and open up the arms, some little joint movement. So you're just going to open and close the hands real fast, okay? So here we are, slow, nice, and then pop, 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 pop. And then you can't see my hands, it's out of the picture, but raise your hands and then the same thing. Open and close real fast. And then at an angle, open and close real fast. There you go. And then, all right. And then your hands up. And then everything. Just as joint mobility. This joint mobility. All right. And then windshield wiper. Now you might notice some shifts in the joints up and down here, and then just rest and see. Just open, notice the openness of the joints. How they're just kind of open. You see that? How they're just kind of open and relaxing. There you go. Now, over time, as you age, go through life, and you do this on a daily basis, these little exercises, mobility, circulation, the fascia, how everything works in the nervous system, it will serve the nervous system for sure. Okay, here we go. Lifting up through the top of the head. I might have to come out of camera. Hold on, hold that thought real quick, because this sun is just dropping. I should say raising. So an old school house. All right. Might be better. Okay, let's get a twist in. Okay, how's everybody feeling? You doing okay? I know I'm in the blind. I don't know who's out there, but it's always nice to be here for you. Yeah. All right, let's do a twist. So taking that right hand, put it on the left knee, and then that left hand can support yourself in a twist. You want to lift up through the top of the head on the inhale and then on the exhale. Okay, twisting to left. No pausing in the breath cycle. This will relax the animal brain. And you can see time for what it is. You can see time for what it is. All right. No pausing in the breath cycle, looking for pleasant sensations, find the sweet spot. And then come back to center. And now the left hand on the outside of the right knee, right fingertip, or the right hand on the outside of the, right on the outside of the tailbone, lifting up now the opposite way, in through the top of the head and then over to the right, and through the nostril. There you go. And release. And then the next exercise, it's a lower body exercise as well, but it really does open up space for the rest of the spine to elongate and for the hips to relax, open up. And so we're going to do a wide-legged squat. So let the feet out and then drop the tailbone. And then the hands and the arms come in, and you want to find your sweet spot. So on a scale of 1 to 10 of intensity, you're looking for that 4, 5, 6 level of engagement where you are engaged yet relaxed. All right, engaged yet relaxed. And then gravity. That's all you need. Gravity and time. The pelvic girdle starts to relax, open up, the hips are opening up, and then you find this space in the lower back so that the spine can realign. All right. Doing this a couple of minutes every day. Every day. We won't get that long. We'll only do about 60 seconds. We're already mostly halfway there. All right, but breathing, looking for pleasant sensations, and letting center of gravity do its thing. Okay. And then go ahead and come to seat. All right, and then just pedal it out. This little tapotement. All right, and then we'll come into child's pose. Another one that you might think is solely for the lower body, but it's also for the upper body. Again, opening up the hips so that the torso can relax into its center of gravity. So the toes together, knees are wide, bring the head down, and breathe. You'll notice that the spine, this elongation of the spine, this is an inversion where that oxygen can come into the blood, into the brain. And breathe. All right, and then come on back up. And we'll do some cat-cows. So we give a little space in that vertebra. Oh man, just give a little space in that spine. Everything from the spine out. Everything from the spine out. And then from here, let's do some cat-cows. So lifting up through the head, broadening through the collarbone. That's the inhale. And then on that exhale, tucking the chin, pressing the head forward, and then back. Broadening through the collarbone, and then back. Now, no pausing in the breath cycle, no pausing in the movement cycle as you link the movement together. All right. Back and forth, and then come back in the center. So back over here. Let's do a side body. All right, here we go. Let me back up here so my head's not cut off for sure. All right, hands behind your head. Link them to the top of your head. I'll be your mirror, so let's come up and over to your right. You want to lift up through your left side body and breathe. No pausing in the breath cycle. Find the sweet spot. Looking for pleasant sensations. And then find an inhale. Come on back up. And re-squeeze that tailbone and then up and over the other way. Breathing up and through those intercostals. No pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth, easy breaths in through the nostril and out through the nostril. And then come on back up. All right. And then release. And then just notice, bring the head right over your center of gravity. The tailbone hooks right into the mat. Right into the mat, right up your center of gravity, up your spine. As the head just finds naturally its center of gravity, allow the shoulders to be back and down and relax. And breathe. Notice a natural breath of no pausing in the breath cycle. This is your most natural breath. What happens when you breathe your most natural breath in parasympathetic response? What happens? Are you present? No. Here, now, content. The sense of time slowed down or disappeared altogether? Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and continue. And we want to stimulate the 12 cranial nerves and 7 glands. All right. Oxygen releasing the fascial system, and then stimulating these glands and these cranial nerves will help us continue to come back over and over again into this parasympathetic nervous system, this balance of sympathetic parasympathetic response, homeostasis. So the first is to give yourself a hug, right arm over left, and nose nice and straight. We're going to balance out. We're going to stimulate the cranial nerves, left and right, up and down. So nose nice and straight, looking your eyeballs to the left. Deep breath in through the nostril. And then exhale looking right. Exhale through pursed lips this time. Breath in through the nostril looking left. And then let it go looking right through pursed lips. And then switch it up. Left arm over right. Nose nice and straight, looking up. Big breath in through the nostril. And let it go looking down. Breath in through the nostril looking up. Let it go looking down. And shake it out. And then we're just going to balance out the brain with snap and tap. I call it turning off the TV. So in your peripheral vision, you just give a little snap. This is like a left and right hemisphere calm check. Little tap, a little snap looking left, and a little snap looking right, and a snap looking left, and a looking right, and then a little tap, and then just look right out your own eyes. Notice any sides, see if you can notice the TV turning low. And then thumbs on the temple. And then you just give them a little massage in the prefrontal lobe. Now, this is where we're curious, where we're open, allowing and loving. All right, this is where we make good decisions. This is where we learn. This is where we find perspectives that we never thought we would never see. All right. So the seat of wisdom is right here in this prefrontal lobe. We could use a little bit more wisdom. All right. And then a little tap on the arm. You want to just give a little tap. You tap up, and then you tap down, and then you tap over to the other side. And then you just give a little tap. You don't do it hard. You just give a little stimulation, and then right down the legs, go touch the feet. You have 70 trillion cells, and we're just giving them a little activation. And then we'll touch the left shoulder to the right knee, right shoulder to the left knee. Criss, cross, apple, sauce. Okay. Crisscross applesauce, linking central and peripheral nervous system. Take your right hand, put it on it, just a little tap on the inside of the soft tissue of the elbow. And then the other side. Okay. And then on the inside of the neck here, real soft. This is soft tissue, but we're just giving these glands a little. And the meridians are like highways of information from the peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system. And then the bones of the face, tapping the bones of the face, the temple, the eyebrows, the cheekbones, chin, collarbone, and right over the top of the head for about C7. Okay. And then let's come into rest. Let's notice, recognize that we're relaxed attentiveness. Let's bring it into the day. Notice that relaxed attentiveness. Draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone. Notice how the body just relaxes on your center of gravity. No pausing in the breath cycle. In through the nostril, in, out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle. Find the sweet spot in everything you do, that 4, 5, 6 level of engagement where you are engaged, yet relaxed. And then throughout the day, look for pleasant sensations. Any opportunities for the body to relax, big organic breaths, or any opportunities for the mind to just be still. And you recognize that you are present here, now, content, at peace. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today, from one veteran to another, and all those that care for us, who love us and support us. Namaste.